All right, so this video is for those of you who need help understanding the differences in the various ways Etsy reports things. Maybe you've updated your spreadsheet for a month in 2022, and then you go to enter your fees and you notice that, hey, my sales look slightly different. My fees, my processing fees that I imported in look slightly different than what is showing up on my spreadsheet, and you want to know why. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through a few examples. I'm going to start with this one, but this is a very basic example because it doesn't have shipping or very much showing up on this report, but it's still going to do a good job. And then I'll show you a more complicated one, hopefully with the idea that you'll be able to match your own numbers if the fact that they don't match is really tripping you out. And as an analytical person who spends a lot of time looking at these reports, I understand the frustration. So let's just take a look at what we see here first. So I imported in my Orders CSV in my January tab, and I am seeing total sales minus partial refunds equaling to this number, $3,990. If I look at what Etsy is reporting over here in my sales box on my activity summary for the same time period, I see some different numbers here, and none of them match exactly to what I've going on here, except for my partial refunds is matching. So a few things to just note right out of the box as to how Etsy is reporting things here. Your sales are going, your total sales row here are going to include all the money that Etsy collected from your customer during that time period. So it will include any VAT they collected and any US sales tax they collected. Any sort of tax collected by Etsy from any of your customers will be included here. All right, that tax is not actually given over to you in 99% of the time. Since Etsy is a marketplace and now collects sales tax on behalf of the sellers in almost every state right now, as of February 7th, 2022, it's every state except for Missouri. So unless you happen to have a nexus in Missouri, you're not actually receiving any of that tax that's collected. And so that's one big difference right there between this number and this number. This number could be greater than your number here because your Orders CSV does not include that sales tax. And that's fine. That's how you want it to be. You don't actually receive that money. It shouldn't be included in your revenue. It's not included in your revenue when Etsy reports your total sales on your 1099K. So this number is what we want. The end result is that this total sales minus any tax you have either here and or here should get you closer to this number here, your Etsy sales number. Now, if I do that for myself, let's take 4044.37 and let's subtract out 26.82. I am still not close. In fact, I'm getting farther away, right? This number here is bigger than my number here, even before I account for subtracting out the sales tax. And that's fine. There's going to be another reason why those don't match. I also want to note in my super simple example here, I don't have shipping received. You want to sum up those two cells, your shipping received and your Etsy sales, when you're comparing it to this number here. It includes shipping that your customer paid you. So just a few things to note right off the bat. This number includes shipping your customer paid you. You want to subtract out any of these taxes that you didn't receive. Let's check out the next thing that we have, which is timing differences. So in order to figure this out, I had to download the CSV that goes into this, that calculates this sales total. If you look at this button for the first time, it may say Generate CSV. That's fine. First, you click Generate CSV, and then after a while, you should be able to refresh it, and it should be available for download. For whatever reason, when I click on Download CSV, I think this maybe only happens in Safari, but it looks like gobbledygook. So the trick is you want to right-click on that black Download CSV button and do Download Linked File. That will open it as a CSV file that I can open in my spreadsheet software. Let's take a look at what this file looks like. To make it more easily understandable, I'm going to sort and filter my data because otherwise it's just a lot of stuff. But before I do that, I do want to note, if you're working in Google Sheets instead of Excel or numbers, you may open this up and the numbers may be formatted not as numbers, they may be formatted as text. you should be able to click on a column in this CSV and see a sum over here. You may not have this turned on. You may need to click down here and change it from none to sum. If you have sum turned on and it's not showing up still, and you're in Google Sheets, it's probably because Google Sheets has formatted your numbers as text. You should just be able to highlight those numerical rows and go to the format menu or right-click format, whatever's going on in Google Sheets, and make it be a currency. Format it as a number or currency. I'm going to undo that because I like seeing it in red, but that's how you do it. You just want to highlight it and format it as numbers or currency, whatevs. All right, so moving on from that, once you've got everything opened in your spreadsheet software of choice, click that little square above the 1 and to the left of A, so all your data is highlighted, and then look for your filter button. It looks like a little funnel in Excel. You may need to go to the data menu or the format menu again to turn on your ability to filter. Find it in whatever spreadsheet software you're using. And then I am going to filter by column B by type. What I'm going to do is just look for the sale transaction. So I'm going to deselect all and then click on sale, and now I can see all of my sales that happened in the month of January. So if I sum this up, I'm getting that 404437, which actually matches my total sales as reported here before I subtract anything out, right? But it doesn't match my order CSV. And that's because of a couple things. The most obvious, and the first thing that I suggest you check if you have a difference, is to look at how many sales you have on this form. And if I highlight this and change sum to count, count is telling me I have 37 things in this column. So really, I want to get rid of the header and count again. I have got 36 sales showing up for the month of January. If I head over to my Orders CSV and do the same thing, just highlight these transactions that I already imported in and look at count, I have 37. So I have one more sale on my Orders CSV than I do on my monthly statement here. And what I can do if I want to do a side-by-side comparison, which I did off screen, and I can, take some time to do that by searching for the total amount or the order ID. I ended up just looking for order IDs, and I suggest if you notice you have a difference, do things on the first of the month and on the last day of the month. What I end up here is one transaction that happened on the last day of the month that is missing from this CSV. So I can actually I can copy the order ID and then go over to this one and do Control F to bring up my find menu, paste that order number in, and it's going to be like, hey, it's not here because the order numbers are showing up over here in the title column. So basically what is happening is the cutoff time on your order CSV is slightly later than the cutoff time on your Etsy Statement CSV. So that means that anything that happens near the beginning or the end of the month could end up being on a different month on the other report. So I have an order here, okay, for $149 minus a discount of $22.35. All right, so the customer paid me $126.65. I have an order of $126.65 that's missing from my total sales here. So I'm going to add that back to the 4044, all right, and then I'm going to subtract out again that tax that I didn't actually receive, and now I match my Etsy sales. So my difference here is really a timing difference, and that sale will be included in February's monthly statement. So it's not really anything I need to do or change. It's just a timing difference, and hopefully it makes you feel better to understand what's causing those differences if you can reconcile it back. The same exact thing happens with my processing fees. the processing fee on that one different missing sale is $4.05. Okay, so if I just take out $4.05 from my January imported in processing fees, it should match this number here, $125.70. So if I do $130.33 minus $463, I should get to $125.70. Yes, so that is what's causing the difference there. I don't need to change anything on my spreadsheet to match this because it should all even out in the end. That sale that I'm missing should be included here in February and so on and so forth. And this, I have noticed the timing cutoff of this report is what ends up matching the 1099K that Etsy issues you. And ideally, we want to match that guy. So it should all even out over time. Now, that was a really simple example of someone who doesn't have sales tax to deal with, doesn't have shipping to deal with, and I don't cancel any orders, which leads to some more difficult reconciling here. So let's look at a more complicated example in case that helps you with your own stuff too. All right, so here we go. This is from an actual customer who is using numbers, and let's figure out why her numbers don't match. So let's start with her sales screen right here. We have got some sales tax, some credits, some refunded stuff, and things look slightly different. So if I want to take her total sales, and that includes sales tax that I don't want to include, so I'm going to actually subtract out the sales tax, and I'm going to add back that 76 cents credit. She's at 168.64, which is different than the sum of her shipping and Etsy sales. She's slightly lower here. So in this case, her total sales here are higher. All right, and she doesn't have any refunds reported, and she has refunds reported here. So what's going on? Same thing for her processing fees. It looks like they are slightly higher than what she has imported in. So let's start with our timing difference issue again. This is her monthly statement CSV. Once again, I'm going to take it and filter it. I'm going to try and look for just her sales. Now, we can count and see how many transactions she's got, but I already have spent some time digging into this one, and it's a little bit deceiving. So her monthly statement CSV has 75 transactions on it, and her Orders CSV actually only has 74. So I may be inclined to think that maybe there's an extra transaction at the beginning of the month on her statement CSV because it's one more sale, but that's actually not the case. If I go through and look for this order, her very first order on January 1st listed on the CSV, and search for it over here on her order CSV, I see it. So it's not a case of a missing transaction over here. Let's go ahead and check the month cutoff too. Is this order ID on January 31st included over here on her statement CSV? No, it's not. It's missing. So there's actually, and even though her order CSV is less than her statement CSV, she has got one additional transaction here due to that month cutoff problem. So we need to add $19 basically to this total to help us get closer to the sales reported on her spreadsheet. And what's tricky about that, remember, is that her Etsy order CSV sales were already lower than what was being reported here. So if I add the $19 missing transaction back here, I'm actually getting further away from matching. So something else is causing the majority of this difference, and I'll give you a spoiler alert. It's related to these refunds. So I know that the number of my transactions are slightly off, and if it's not explained solely by the timing difference cutoffs, it's going to be related to canceled orders. So that's the other big difference here. Etsy is including canceled orders in your total sales here. Anything that you cancel and fully refund. And those canceled orders, for whatever reason, are not reported on the Orders CSV that goes into here at all. So if you really want to dig, if you want to find the canceled orders, you can look back at your Statements CSV and look for anything that says refunds here. I'm not going to filter or sort because I want you to be able to see the matching sale. So here I have got a refunded order of $27.03, and the corresponding sale that it's related to is right here. So we have the sale for $27.03, and then we have the refund for $27.03. And if you look up here too, you'll even see all of the credits for refunding the fees on that sale as well. We've got another one here where she refunded an other order, and here is the corresponding sale. So these two fully refunded, potentially canceled orders come out to $12.26 plus $27.03. And you can verify that this is what's causing the difference by searching again for those order numbers over on your Orders CSV if you want. So here's one that was refunded, not found. And then let's search for the other one, also not found. So anytime you have these missing orders on here, that indicates that they were canceled. And if they were canceled, there's not really anything you need to do. The revenue was not here to begin with, so we don't need to add that refund to our spreadsheet. If you had a fully refunded but not canceled order, when you go to search for it on the Orders CSV, you will find it. You will find it on here. You'll find the order on here, but the refund will be missing. It will not be reported here. They don't report full refunds on the CSV for some reason. So if that's the case, if you find the order on here, that means that that amount is included in your sale. So you would want to add a refund for that amount. Or if you have a refund on here where the sale was not the same month, you would also want to enter the full refund on here. You would also want to enter the refund on here. So in this case, I have a canceled order. It wasn't included in my sales to begin with, so I don't need to worry about adding it, adjusting it, doing anything. It's just helping me explain the difference here. So the full amount of $39.29 that she refunded was for 2 canceled, fully refunded orders. So let's see if we can solve this, if we can match this now. So I have got $1873.26. I'm going to subtract out my 2 canceled, fully refunded orders that are never reported on my Orders CSV. I am going to subtract out my 105.38. I'm going to add back the credited sales tax, and then I'm going to add that missing $19 sale that's not included here, but is included here. And that should give me to my $1748.35. So now I match. That's the process that I need to go through to match. Canceled orders, timing issues, the biggest 2 things. So if I then wanted to match her processing fees just for fun, okay, I will see that I'm going to be off by the same thing. I'm going to take my $74.99. I'm going to subtract out the credited fee of $73.31. I'm still off by 75 cents or so. I am going to add the credit card processing fee on that one missing $19 transaction due to that timing cutoff. And it's going to get me to $74.13, which matches exactly. So this is how I go about reconciling to this screen. It's not, super vital that you do that. But for those of you that just want to understand how or why Etsy can report the same number for the same time period 5 different ways. Hopefully this gives you a little bit more insight into the process. Before I finish this video, I do want to just go over a few more things with this statement CSV that may help some of you if you want to dig deeper into this report. I showed you how to turn on the ability to filter. Something else that you can do is sort by type here. And I want to let you know a little bit about what you're going to see. You can see the net deposits that end up getting sent to your bank account, and all your types of fees will be listed here. You can further sort fees by going to title and then let's just look at just fees and then sort by title. So anytime a fee was credited will show up here. You'll see your listing fees, which you can total up if you want just by highlighting them. Looking at that sum, that should match whatever total is showing up on your statement screen. Your processing fees, same thing. And then you'll see transaction fees. This is that 5% commission that Etsy takes on all of your sales. You'll see it for the sale itself, and then you'll see a transaction fee on the shipping amount that your customer pays you. Those will show up as 2 different things on the same sale. And those should be the types of fees that you see. You can also look at your marketing expenses for Etsy ads. That should match to your statement screen as well. Refunds, same thing. We already talked about that. The sales, we already talked about that. These amounts are including any tax collected on the sale, even if you didn't actually receive that amount. So if you need to back out the tax collected, you can see that by looking at your tax type here. This is the tax that Etsy collected on your behalf usually. And yeah, that should be it. So if you need to use this to just verify what you're seeing on your statement screen, that's fine. If you want to dig into that, hopefully that helps you understand this CSV a little bit more.